told you to expect big power outages in April, and I told you to.
Alright guys, welcome to Tango's TikToks. Let's see what the news is today. Let's go on with a bit of power outage. Some fires in Israel. Let's see what's happening.
Expect big power outages in April, and they're here, unfortunately. So in Portugal, Spain, and parts of France, they're having a humongous blackout. It is the biggest power outage that Europe has ever seen. I just read that tens of millions of people are without power. They do not know what has happened, and they don't know how long it's going to take to fix it either. So now that you know that I'm not a fraud, please listen to me when I say I do see more of these this year and next year. And it's really a smart idea to get some extra food, get some extra water, shove it in a corner somewhere. You can forget about it. You don't need to panic, but just be sure that you will be taken care of if and when it comes here. And I do think that we will see them in the United States. So take care of yourselves, please, and pray for the people in the power outage.
So what do you guys think? Do you think we need to start stocking up? Do you think, I don't know, the powers that be really don't care about us anyway? Let us know what you think down below in the comments. Leave a like and subscribe, and let's move on.
Why is it that every time someone threatens the world's most powerful people, they end up dead? Not after years, not by accident, right when their voices needs to be heard the most. William Coombs, the indigenous man who said he witnessed Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip take 10 children who were never seen again. Healthy one moment, dead the next. They said natural causes, just weeks before he was due to testify. Princess Diana, the people's princess, she knew the darkness inside the royal family. She feared for her life. She wrote it down. They're planning an accident in my car. And then she crashed in a tunnel with no CCTV, no proper investigation, just silence and a sea of flowers from people who knew. And now Virginia Giuffre, a woman who stood up against billionaires, royalty, predators, gone, dead just days ago. Another bright light extinguished. And she's not alone. Police officers, investigators, journalists who dug too deep into royal or elite scandals. Many died suddenly too. Dr. David Kelly exposed lies at the highest level of government, found dead in the woods, wrist slit, with almost no blood at the scene, ruled suicide, of course. Jeffrey Epstein, one of the most high-profile prisoners in the world, who was about to expose names that reached the highest halls of power. Left alone, cameras turned off, found hanged in his cell. They tell us it's coincidence. They tell us to forget. But the pattern is too loud to ignore. The people who stand up against evil, who dare to lift the veil, they're the ones who vanish. And the monsters they tried to expose, they're still out there, smiling for the cameras, drinking champagne, rewriting history. Remember their names, remember their courage, because if we don't, no one else will. And follow for more news, views, and uncomfortable truths.
See, the thing is with this is once you wake up, you just can't go back to sleep. As much as you try, you know the symbolism they use, you know the tactics they use, everything. You just can't go back to sleep, as much as you try. I've tried to believe the official narrative, and I've always been proven wrong after I've woken up. Always. I know the tactics they use now. I know the symbolism they use now. The number 44 is a big number. If they use 4 in any articles concerning people dying, 4 people died, 44 people died, 8 people died, a multiplication of 44, you know that is a setup. You know that's a ruse. You know that that is a lie. Anyway, let's move on.
Beneath the Vatican, beneath the rituals, the robes and the whispered prayers, lies something far older than religion itself. A 500-mile tunnel stretching from Rome to Jerusalem. A passage not built, but unearthed, leading into the depths of a forgotten world. They don't speak of it, they don't acknowledge it, because to do so would shatter the illusion they've carefully built, the illusion of time, of history, of control. What was hidden there? Gold. More than wealth, an unfathomable hoard, enough to collapse entire economies, enough to reveal a deception so vast it rewrites the foundations of modern civilization. It took 650 planes to move it to Fort Knox. But gold is just metal. The real treasure is what it represented: power, lost civilizations, erased epochs, forbidden knowledge. This wasn't stolen from kings or emperors, it was taken from the fallen. Tartaria, the old world, the ones who came before. Those who understood energy, frequency, resonance, who built without rulers, who lived without chains. They didn't just bury Tartaria, they looted it, stripped its libraries, melted its symbols, carried away the remnants of its greatness, and sealed them under the Vatican, where only the chosen few would ever know the truth. But gold is dense, heavy, it drags with it the weight of memory, and memory is dangerous. Why move it now? What shift is coming? The controllers, the architects of this false timeline, always prepare for the next reset. Is it war, economic collapse, a restructuring so massive they can no longer hide what's beneath the surface? The Vatican stands as more than just a religious centre. It is a fortress, a keeper of long-forgotten knowledge and history. Beneath its foundations lie tunnels stretching deep into the past, remnants of civilizations lost to time, their stories hidden beneath layers of secrecy. Much of history has been rewritten, reshaped to fit a controlled narrative. As vast resources are quietly relocated, one question remains: what shift is coming next? Beneath the Vatican, beneath the ritual...
So, I believe Tartaria did exist. I believe we have lost much of the ancient civilization. But I don't know. I've never heard about this 500-mile long tunnel from the Vatican to Jerusalem. If there was, prove it. Show me pictures. You're the one that's telling me. You're making a video about this. Tell me. As for Tartaria, I know it's one of these feelings. I live in a country where it's developing now. Major development, skyscrapers and everything. And some of the old buildings that I see in other countries, hundreds of years old buildings, it doesn't make sense how we're improving technologically on everything else, but we still can't build something like the old Tartarian buildings in ancient civilizations that are still standing for maybe thousands of years. We can't build anything like that. We can't build anything that even resembles anything like that. I'm living in a country right now on an island, and they are literally packing this place with skyscrapers, and not one of them has even the aesthetic, the romanticism that these Tartaria buildings had. And we've got some beautiful buildings left by the English when the English occupied this island. Amazing buildings, beautiful buildings, but nothing compared to what I see in other countries from ancient civilizations. So yes, Tartaria did exist. But as for this 500-mile tunnel, only God knows. Only God knows. 8 billion in the world, you're never going to find out the truth. Never. But if you are interested, look up Tartaria. Tatari, if I'm not mistaken.
So here's something else that they don't tell you when you're having a spiritual awakening. They don't tell you about the sadness that happens, the sense of loss that you have, the depression that kicks in, the anxiety that kicks in, and even other mental health issues that come along with awakening. And the reason that these things come up is because when you go through this spiritual awakening, you feel everything. You feel more. You feel happiness at levels that you have never felt, and you feel sadness at levels that you've never felt. So in my awakening, the first thing that I awakened to was myself. And so when you awaken to yourself, you see yourself as you truly are. And sometimes that's a very sobering experience, because I started to recognize the low vibrational behaviors in me. And I looked at those and I became sad about that. I became sad about the people that I've harmed before and things that I've done that were not right. As if that's not enough, then you start having an awakening about the people around you, the people that are close to you. And that's another sad episode that happens. So you have the sadness from yourself, you have the sadness from the people around you. And then the next step is you start looking at the world. You start looking at this planet. You feel the pain of this planet. You feel the pain of people as you walk around. You can literally feel the energy of other people. And so all of this feeling that you're having can become overwhelming to your system, which is why we go into the places of depression or anxiety or sadness or feeling a sense of loss. It's actually normal. I want you to know that if you're having a spiritual awakening, it is going to affect you mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. It's going to affect you because you don't become in tune with this world and not be affected by it. And so I remember going through this process, and then I also remember just feeling like, oh my gosh, I just want to go into a cave and just stay away from everybody and become isolated. And I did do that for a while, but I also had to realize that that was a season and I was not supposed to stay in isolation, because awakening to higher levels of consciousness is not given to you for you to go into a cave and die. It's given to you so that you can remember who you are, so that you can alchemize and transmute all the pain, all the issues, everything, and for you to turn all of that into light. Now, that light is not meant to stay in a cave. That light is meant to be shined throughout this world. Not in a way where we force light into people's faces. We simply just walk through our lives shining the light. And whoever is interested in that light, they'll come to you. So here's something.
So, a couple of things about what he's saying here. Yes, spiritual awakening and all of that jazz. The depression, all of that comes from when you're stuck on the internet. It comes from the loops, the continuous scrolling, the addiction that you don't even realize that you have. I have it. I've noticed at times where I'm just gonna, someone will send me a reel on Instagram or TikTok, and an hour and a half later, I'm still there on my phone. And that reel was what? A couple of seconds, 10 seconds, half a minute long. So it sucks you in. This black mirror that we hold in our hands, this mobile phone. You do realize that when it's switched off, all it is a black mirror. It's magic. It's black magic to suck you in. Having a spiritual awakening, I don't know what that means. I've never been much of a spiritual person. I have been an empathetic person for the most part. And I think that's why maybe ever since 6 years ago, maybe a bit longer, I feel at peace when I'm away from pretty much everybody. I go to work, I can actually feel, yeah, he's right, I can feel people's pain now. The ones that haven't woken up, for the most part, they treat you different. They really do treat you different. And the ones that have woken up, for the most part, I'd say about 3/4 of them wish they didn't wake up. They really do. They wish they stayed asleep. And there's days where I wish that I didn't wake up. I wish that I wasn't introduced to all this stuff. And I was introduced to all this stuff around 9/11, 2001. Just after is when I've got my first computer. And I was introduced to it just after, I'd say about 2003, around there. I used to study up on David Icke. David Icke was my favorite. My YouTube, there wasn't any algorithms back then. All the videos I had up on my YouTube were David Icke and that kind of ilk. And that's when I woke up. And when I was preaching love, loving each other, instead of hating each other, instead of stealing from each other, I was accused of being a Jehovah's Witness by people extremely close to me. But anyway, I digress. Spiritual awakening, I'm not sure. Is it a spiritual awakening? Depends on your definition of a spiritual awakening. But I am awake. I can see what's going on. All the black flag operations that go on around the world. All the fires in certain unnamed, I can't name the countries, but all the fires that are going on right now due to the fact that they were genociding other people. What goes around comes around, I guess. Anyway, this is Lawrence from Tango's TikToks. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your political, spiritual views are. Let me know what your views are on Tartaria. Let me know what your views are on the afterlife. Let's get this ball rolling. Have an amazing day. I'll see you later. Bye.